from our heart, living from our core, living from our power, we all get more. We are powerful women.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alignment Summit. I'm Sue Erda. I'm your host for this event, and I am the publisher at Powerful You Publishing. I'm so grateful to bring to you these 20 amazing women to this Alignment Summit, who are also the authors of the upcoming book, Women Living in Alignment. And, one after the other, they continue to amaze me with what they have to share, and they're just here for you. And I know if you're listening, you're on your own journey of alignment, living in alignment with your soul purpose, with your higher self, with your own consciousness, with the whispers of your heart. So thank you for being here. Thank you for giving yourself this gift. And today I get the honor of talking with Bernadette Bloom. I'm going to read a brief introduction of her, and then we'll get started talking with her. Bernadette Bloom is a medical intuitive, teacher, and practitioner of energy medicine based on the writings of DK from Tibet. She is president of the nonprofit JJ Esoteric Foundation and founder of the Center for Aligned Healing. Bernadette has studied osteopathic principles as well as Tai Chi and shamanism, and she combines Eastern and Western traditions in her practice, helping clients throughout the world. Her vision is to serve the world and to empower as many people as possible in their life and health. She was part of the National Institute for Health study to heal glioblastoma multiforme in 2001 and has developed a healing program for fibromyalgia, PTSD, diabetes, and breast cancer. And I am so happy to welcome Bernadette Bloom. Bernadette.
Hi, everybody. Nice to hear you, see you.
Yes, nice to hear you. I'm so happy you're here with us in our audience.
Me
So
too.
I like your topic. Esoteric is a word that I really like to use just generally. So your topic is esoteric, to seek out an aspect not obvious until you study it in greater depth. So tell me about that. What does it mean, and how did you start to learn about this esoteric healing?
Okay, so there's actually 26 books written on this topic, and people always say to me, well, I have the blue book, and I'm like, really? Which one?
Which blue book?
So we have Esoteric Healing, we have Esoteric Psychology 1, we have Esoteric Psychology 2, we have Esoteric Astrology, and this work was given to us by a man named Dwal Khul, who we lovingly call DK, the Tibetan. And it's channeled material, and it came through a woman named Alice Bailey in England. And so it's very difficult to read. So my job is to translate into normalese. So the lay people that are taking my classes can understand, but I'm also a physical therapist by trade. So if I have medical people in the class, I translate it into medicalese. So esoteric means hidden, to seek out. So my first teacher was an accountant from England. My second teacher was an accountant from England, which is very, very unusual because at that time, 30 years ago, they were sending people from England to come to the States to teach this work. And then my third teacher was an osteopathic physician from Michigan State who I'd studied all my cranial sacral. So esoteric for me is, yes, you have a back pain, but why? Yes, you have a cold, but why? Now, here's the tricky one. Yes, you have COVID, but why? Because there's always something underlying that's not addressed that creates the situation.
Interesting. So, and you're talking about esoteric healing in general. How is it different from Reiki or other energetic modalities?
Okay, that's a great question. And people ask me that all the time. So I'm a teacher, so I just happen to have my props here. So Reiki is more generic than esoteric healing. Esoteric healing is very specific. And here is what we call the constitution of the human being, with the creator or the divine at the top and the physical body at the bottom. So everybody has this model, the constitution of the human being, but Reiki doesn't recognize the monad, or what we call the I am presence. So this is the first separation from the creator. Reiki doesn't represent the spiritual triad, So if you have something like fibromyalgia, PTSD, ALS, diabetes, cancer, Parkinson's, the origins, according to the esoteric teachings, are up in this spiritual triad. So you need an energetic presence that doesn't have that imbalance called the monad. So you connect with this and bring it through into the physical body.
So it's more complete, would you
It's more
say?
complete and it's more specific. That's one of the differences. The other differences are that we have, so the monad, and we have what are called rays, R-A-Y-S, rays of energy, and there's 7 of them, and they come from the creator. And each ray energizes a different chakra. So the basic of the root chakra is energized by ray 7. The sacral chakra is energized by ray 5. The solar plexus is energized by ray 6. The heart is ray 2. The throat is ray 3. We call this the ajna, not the third eye, and that's either 2 or 4. And the crown is ray 1. So if you're having a hard time getting the chakras balanced, you can offer it the ray. And usually the ray will then help expand the chakra if you can't do it any other way. The other difference is we tend to work in triangles, because triangles is one of the strongest structures in the body. So after we balance the chakras, then say if I want to do the courage area, it's the basic chakra to the knee minor. So it's a triangle. And we ask for you to have courage on all levels, all times, all dimensions, and all realities.
Wow. Okay. So tell us this. So say I come to you for a session, a healing session. What could I expect as a client?
Okay, so if you go to my website, theesotericbloom.com, there's frequently asked questions. So when people come to me, number one, I want to know how they found me, because that's the esoteric part, you know. And then I ask them to come up with 3, say they have back pain. I want to have 3 emotional things that they are not able to resolve on their own prior to getting diagnosed with back pain. So people say to me, well, just 3. I said, well, let me just start with 3. And then we can, esoteric, peel the onion. What's underneath that? What's underneath that? What's underneath that? So once they send me their 3 things, I look at it, I decide, I ask for the highest and best good for them, whatever that is at this moment, at this time. And so this is our famous blue picture where you put your own spiritual oxygen mask on before you help anybody. So it's heart to ajna, ajna to soul light to monad, the monad's not in here, and monad to the source of your understanding, whatever that is for you at this time. Bring this healing energy back. Here's my client. I'm going to connect to their soul, to their monad, to their source, and ask for the highest and best. We can only ask for the highest and best because we don't want to narrow ourselves down into specific outcome. And most people say, I said, would you like the highest and best? And they go, well, I've been through the crappiest and the lowest, so I think I'll take the highest and the best. Kind of a no-brainer. So we balance the chakras first with this. Then I usually do all the organs of processing, because the organs of processing, they just don't, organs of processing are down here, the last place to receive the energy. The organs of processing would be the liver, the gallbladder, the duodenum, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine. They help you process. The food is the small piece, but the emotions and the thoughts of what's going on. And most people that come to me have too much information that they can't process. And if you look what's going on in the world today, we're constantly getting bombarded with all of these stressors. And so people go, by the time they come to me, they're like deer in the headlights, their shoulders are twitching, they've developed some sort of cancer, fibromyalgia or something like that. So after we balance the organs of processing, then I take you back in time. Using the principles of energy follows thought, I have you think about what's bothering you. So then the chakras usually go, even if it happened 50 years ago, even if it happened 20 years ago, even if it happened if you were in utero, because a lot of times people will get the trauma when they're in utero. So when the chakras get small, again, using this connection of soul and monad, we pull this energy in, and then the chakras start to expand. And I'll do things a lot of times with the trauma, it's very confusing. So I'll do things to help let go of the confusion. Like I said, I'll do the courage triangle. I'll do the spine so they feel supported. Shoulders are guilt, burdens, and responsibilities. Anybody got that? So we take off the shoulders, guilt, and responsibilities. We'll put in this, we'll give you spleen energy so you feel supported. Anything that I'm guided to give you to help you heal. And then what happens after that is the chakras start to expand. And then because nature abhors a void, we put in healing and nurturing energy. So the breaths are for self-nurturing. You know, everybody that comes to see me now gets a double immune system boost for the COVID. You know, anything that I can think of just to help elevate the vibration and make them feel better. And most people do really well. If they're willing, they do really, really, really well.
That's great. I love that. So who comes to you? Like, what types of symptoms can esoteric healing heal?
I never get an ankle sprain. I never get a common cold. I'll get the PTSDs, the complex PTSDs. I'll get the fibromyalgias. I'll get the Parkinson's. Somebody, God bless her, somebody's coming tomorrow from, not coming, we're doing it on Zoom, from Canada that was just diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer with metastasis to the liver. That is not a good diagnosis. You know, I'll get the autisms. I still get it because I was in 9/11. I still get a lot of people that esoterically find me when I was living in Florida. I can't tell you how many firefighters and people that were in 9/11 found me. I never said, hey, I can help you, but esoterically, they found me and we took out the trauma. So usually it's people that can't get better by traditional medical means.
Okay. So, and you mentioned PTSD. So how does esoteric healing heal trauma?
So again, we ask for the using the soul and the monad, we ask for the highest and the best good, whatever that is. First, we balance the chakras in present time. Then we have the person think about the trauma from the past. And again, the chakras will get small, but the soul and the monad, they don't have the trauma. So we want to connect with that higher vibration, the soul, and then the monad. Not many people know how to do that because they don't have the trauma. And then as we do that, the chakras expand, and then we do things to help people let go of that trauma because, you know, if they've had the trauma for 50 years, they've built their life around the emotional pain body or the mental pain body. So their life is going to change for the greater good.
Yeah. Well, so traumas, you're talking about that. People have had it for years, right? Even 2000, September 11th, that was a long time ago. Then you're talking about people that might have had trauma from 50 years ago. How can it heal something from so long ago?
Because energy follows thought. Energy follows thought. If you remember nothing about what I say, everybody on the call, energy follows thought. It doesn't follow the spoken word. It follows your thoughts. So even like people, I had a client in Florida, she was constantly being stalked. I said to her, how were you born? Oh, I was born breech with the umbilical cord around my neck. So every single time she tried to come into the world, she was being strangled, and that translated into being stalked as a mature woman. So we had to go back in time. Think about it. That was life-threatening trauma. Just like stalking can be life-threatening trauma. So we took that trauma out and the stalking stopped.
So do you have to know the source? So she knew that about the umbilical cord, right?
You don't have to, because I'm blessed to be an intuitive. After I get everybody has the 3 emotional things. They'll say, people like say fear, anxiety, anger. And then I'm like, fear of, anxiety of, anger of. And then we start peeling the onions, getting under that esoteric layer, and we find it. And then as more of this energy comes into you, more will be revealed. So again, like I said, it's like peeling the onion. People say, oh, I forgot about that. Oh my God, I had a dream about this. You know, so and everybody's different. So yeah, we always find it because energy doesn't lie. And I always say you can run, but you can't hide.
True, absolutely. Energy does not lie. I like that. So, you know, you're talking about this, and as you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, what is, how is this different from being like a medical intuitive?
Well, I am a medical intuitive, so I get messages now. I wasn't when I first started. So I'm a knower. So I know that I know that I know, which is hard to explain because you know. If you're here, you're clairaudient, you hear things. If you're clairvoyant, you see things. I'm also a clairsentient, so I feel things. So I'll ask people questions and then I'll get yes, no, let's try again. No, that's not quite right. And we fine tune it, because the more that you do this work, the more intuitive you become, and then you can hone in on the issue.
And so does somebody have to believe this will work for it to work?
You know, a long time ago, I studied with Brian Weiss, and he said the mind only works when it's open, similar to a parachute. A parachute doesn't work when it's closed. The mind doesn't work when it's closed. So, comma, semicolon, no, you don't have to believe. Sooner or later you will. Like I have a guy that came in, he goes, something's happening to me. I can tell. I'm not as angry. My wife can tell too. I'm changing. I'm like, So, you know, most people that have come to me now, they've already tried so many things and they're just desperate. So I'm sort of like the last in the line. So I do ask people to participate more strongly now than I used to, because I'm the only one in the New York tri-state area that teaches this work. And I have websites and Facebooks and meditations and blogs. And so like my vocation is to teach people. That is my vocation. You know, I don't have a job anymore as a physical therapist. I have a vocation to serve the world.
I love it. So, okay, so you've worked with lots of clients over the years. You've practiced this modality for many years. Tell us, what advice would you give to someone who's a beginner?
Practice, practice, and practice. And I have a free meditation. It's the Rainbow Bridge meditation. I used to sell it, but I give it away. So I always tell people to do my meditation. The intention behind the meditation was for self-healing. So I have people that are nonverbal or not, you know, like the autistic kids, or I had a Down syndrome kids, because we put the intention in it to heal. These kids actually turn their lives around just by listening to the meditation.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Bernadette, this has been great. This is something new. I had never heard of this before I met you. So this is really terrific. I love this. It seems very all-encompassing, like I said, kind of complete, which I really love. So do you have any final words from our listeners? And also I'd like you to share how they can learn more about you. What's your website, or how they can meet you?
Yes, go to well, I got this in meditation. So, you know, when you asked me for the title, I was like, I don't know what title. My assistant's like, the Esoteric Bloom. I'm like, what? Because I got it in meditation. I was like, the name of your website is going to be theesotericbloom.com. Theesotericbloom.com. We have Facebook pages. Go to my YouTube site, Bernadette Bloom. The blogs are up there. The meditation is on there. And the only side effect from doing this free FREE meditation is you'll feel better.
Love it. Love it so much. Thank you. What a gift for our audience. I so appreciate you. This has been a joy talking with you today. You have great energy, and I love your visuals. That was great to have that.
I'm a teacher. I can't help it. I can't, you know, years ago, I was working on 28th and Broadway with all these variety of people out there. And I'm totally focused on one of my clients. And I hear, you know, you could do this and treat one person for the rest of your life and you'll be fine. Or you can go back to school and learn how to teach, and you will help thousands. What are you going to do? Choose, and choose wisely. And I went, well, they're not really giving me much of a choice. And I can see now, I mean, that was like on the 90s when I was just 2. I can see that I have helped thousands, and I have to say I'm very blessed, and I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful to people like you and to Zoom. And I want to say thank you to COVID, because without COVID, we wouldn't be doing Skype and FaceTime, and this would have never happened. So it's on some level, it's a gift.
Yep, absolutely a gift. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I so appreciate you, and I know people will love to read your story in the book. Thank you, Bernadette.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Give yourself a great day.
Yes, and for you who are listening, please continue to listen to the summit. We have 20 incredible women for you to listen to. And also buy this book, Women Living in Alignment, on launch date, which is November 2nd. Go to our website, womenlivinginalignment.com. We'll guide you to your Amazon page so you can buy that book. We have an Amazon sale that day, 99-cent Kindles. So if you're into Kindle, buy the Kindle. If you want the paperback, buy the paperback. Definitely do that on November 2nd. That's the launch, and you will love it. You'll love these stories. You will love these women, and you will get something for your own life. So do this for you. Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.